Yo guys, what is going on? It's Lukey here and welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to be running through the top 10 Warzone class setups after all of the most recent updates. As you guys know, there's been a lot of updates, there's been a lot of changes, a lot of nerfs, a lot of buffs, and everyone is a bit confused on what to use. Everyone is a bit confused on what attachments are the best, and I'm not going to lie, I was even confused myself. I was very confused because there's so many changes recently and it's just a bit all over the place. So in today's video, I'm going to be going ahead and giving you guys the top 10 class setups with some updated attachments, etc, etc. So if you enjoy, subscribe for more. Let's get into it. So the first weapon on the list is the CR56 AMAX. Now this weapon has been around for a long time. The attachments are the same as they have always been, but I just thought I'd go ahead and mention it in today's video because it definitely deserves a top 10 spot. And if you guys aren't using this class yet, you're doing something wrong. This class setup is one of the best assault rifles for medium long range gunfights, and it is a very, very good weapon. So I'm not going to talk too much about it. There's the attachments. Enjoy. Next up, we have the Mac 10. On this, we have the agency suppressor, the field agent grip, and the raider stock, just like always. And then we have the task force barrel, which is a bit different than normal. So usually people would be using the rifled or the extended, etc. The reinforced heavy is pretty good. But after the most recent update, they have made a few changes, and basically these barrels decrease your mobility by quite a lot. So a lot of people have stopped using them, and instead they're using the task force barrel. The task force barrel increases your effective damage range, bullet velocity, and your strafe speed. However, it does decrease your recoil control by a little bit. It's not too much. So if you guys are struggling to control the recoil, then you can use the reinforced heavy instead. But with the reinforced heavy, your mobility is definitely going to be a little bit slower. So it's up to you. If you guys want more mobility and better damage range, etc, etc, it gives you better damage and range on this one with a little bit of a hit on the accuracy. Use the task force, or if you just want more mobility, then use the reinforced heavy. Personally, for me, I'm rocking with the task force at the moment, but everyone has their own opinion. So next up we have the AUG. The AUG and the M16, these classes are very, very similar. They're pretty much identical, and we have the agency silencer, the strike team, field agent foregrip, the 3x or the 2x scope. It's up to you, whatever you guys like to use. And then the attachment we want to focus on with these class setups, as you guys can see, this is the M16. It's exactly the same attachments. Agency, silencer, strike team, foregrip, and then we have the 3 or the 2x scope. And then we have the ammunition. The ammunition on the M16 and the AUG is the important thing on this class setup that it can make a massive difference. So a lot of people on the AUG and the M16 are either using the Salvo 54 fast mag, or you're using the 54 round drum. Don't use any of these. The reason for this is because it decreases your ADS time by quite a lot. It is pretty noticeable, and a lot of people don't realize that they're using the wrong ammunition. They see 54, they stick on the highest, just like usual. Back in like the beginning of Warzone, people would just use the 60 round mag, the biggest mag you can use. They would stick it on, and they wouldn't really care. But with the Cold War weapons, there's quite a lot of different things you got to think about. So it does decrease your ADS time by a lot. So on the AUG and the M16, use the 45 round drum instead. All it does is decrease the reload time. It doesn't decrease your ADS time like these ones do. So yeah, use the 45 round drum on both of them, or the 45 round on this one, and you guys are good to go. Next up we have the GROZA. The GROZA is a very good weapon. A lot of people are beginning to use this weapon quite a lot. It reminds them of the FFAR. The mobility is incredibly high on this weapon, and people are using it as their secondary with something like the Kar98K or the M16 as their primary weapon. So we have the GRU suppressor, we have the Spetness grip, the 60 round drum. It's okay to use the drum on this one. It does decrease the ADS time by a little bit, but on this one the mobility is already still very, very high, so using the drum on this one doesn't really matter because the mobility is still going to be very high. Don't use the fast mag, You can use this one if you guys want to, the 45 round drum. It does give you more mobility, but like I said, you don't really need to on the GROZA because the mobility is still very high. And then lastly, we have the KGB pad, which increases a bunch of mobility statistics. As you can see on the mobility stat there, it has a big chunk of green on it, which is a very nice sign. Next up, we have the FFAR. Once again, a lot of different changes, and I'm actually going to be giving you guys a few different options for the FFAR because there's so many different class setups that people are using. Literally, there's so many different attachments that people are using at the moment on this weapon. There's quite a lot of different class setups you can run. So, as a basis on everything, you should be using the agency suppressor because it does take you off the minimap. And then we have the then we have the reinforced heavy barrel. This is what I like to use. However, a lot of people are using the ultralight barrel. A lot of people are using this ultralight barrel and they're using it as a super close and medium range weapon. Usually with the FFAR, people will use it as their secondary, like an SMG, but they would use a barrel that increases the damage range, etc, etc. But a lot of people are using the ultralight at the moment, so it depends what you guys want. If you guys want to use this as a proper SMG, super close range gun, use the ultralight barrel. It's very good. It increases your strafe speed by so much. Or you can use the reinforced heavy if you want to get a little bit more range. The SFOD speed grip increases your sprint and move speed and your horizontal recoil control. A lot of people have stopped using the normal field agent grip on the FFAR because it decreases your mobility by quite a lot, and using the SFOD speed grip instead pretty much gives you the same accuracy, and it also increases your mobility. So that's what a lot of people are using. And then for the stock, people used to use the Raider stock, but it does decrease the accuracy by a fair bit. So instead, what people are doing now is using the SAS combat stock because it decreases your accuracy by a little bit less, but it still gives you a lot of mobility. So this is definitely one of the best stocks you can use on the FFAR. For the next one, we have the BULLFROG. The BULLFROG has recently had a lot of people using it. There's been a few different changes with a few different SMG attachments, so the BULLFROG is definitely top tier at the moment. We have the GRU suppressor, just like always. The Spetnus grip, which decreases the recoil. We have the 65 round, which is the best one to use. Don't use the speed mag, don't use the Stanag, don't use the last one because it decreases the mobility by way too much, and 65 bullets is plenty. So if it was me, I would only use the 65 round because like the M16 and the AUG, this only decreases the reload quickness, so it doesn't reload as fast, but it's not really that noticeable, and it doesn't decrease your mobility. It literally doesn't decrease any statistics, so why would you not use this? Next up, we have the KGB skeletal stock, which increases your ADS by quite a lot. And then we have the task force barrel. Once again, just like the Mach 10, this increases the strafe speed, bullet velocity, effective damage range, and it does give you a little bit more recoil, but it doesn't really matter because it is an SMG, so you're going to be using it at close range. So with a close range weapon, it doesn't really matter if you have that little bit more recoil because you're going to be pretty close to your enemy anyway. Next up, we have the GALLO SA-18, the shotgun. This thing has definitely been used a lot recently. The agency choke is what I use with the ember sighting point, the task force barrel for the extra bullet velocity and damage range. Then we have the 12 round tube and the marathon stock, which just gives you crazy mobility. So that is the GALLO class. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but it is a very good class. Next up, we have the Kar 98K, and it's basically the same as what we would always use. However, there's one attachment you want to change, and that is the sniper scope. Instead of using the sniper scope, what you guys are going to want to do instead is use the variable zoom scope, because after the most recent update, they have somehow broken the game, and the variable zoom scope now gives you no sniper glint. Now, I'm not sure how long this is going to be around for. By the time this video is up, it might have been patched, but I do doubt that because they don't really patch broken things very quickly. But if it is patched by the time this video comes out, or by the time you're seeing this video, just use the normal sniper scope. Lastly on the video we have this Hipfire MP5 class. Now I did make a TikTok a while ago on a Hipfire MP5 class and it got like 4 million views. However, after the most recent update, that class setup has been destroyed and you can't use it anymore. But this is the next best thing. This is the next best thing to the MP5 Hipfire class setup. Anyway, that's it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.